Thanks for tuning in. In today's video we are going to be replacing a thermostat on this 2015 S63 with the M157 5.5 liter bi-turbo thermostat right here. Common problem, those tabs break, will cause thermostat stuck open code. Also what we got here is an oil filter housing plug. Not sure if you can see, but right down there you have a leaky plug. Let's see if you can zoom into this one. Yep, that's the wet spot there. Anyway, we get closer, take a closer look. So let's start tearing this thing apart. Let's go ahead and remove the covers, make room for us to work. Next thing will be these turbo pipes will be removed. These oil lines that run into the oil filter housing will be removed. So let's get to it. Alrighty, beauty covers are off. This air box comes off, 7mm right here, little breather hose right here. Remove this one. In the back here we have a sensor. Disconnect the sensor. It's removed. Now we go ahead and move forward to remove these cooler lines, oil cooler lines here, Torx here, and one Torx holding right there. In order to access this bottom bolt there, we're gonna be using this. We can't put our power tool since already the fan is blocking our way. And then duct a little rag here to avoid oil going in there. These two, it's gonna be longer bolts, only ones with the yellow marking on it. Oil lines are removed from the filter housing. These are the two longer screws. Went ahead and put the rubber glove over it, zip tie to avoid any oil spill. Now we're gonna go ahead and cover it up, make sure nothing falls in here. Next up, gonna remove this turbo pipe. One Torx here. You probably find the number 7 down there. On mine it's a replaced clamp, so mine's gonna be different, but you have a Torx here and number 7 right here. Pipe is removed. Onto the second one. Clamp here, number 7. Clamp here, number 7. One Torx holding it up here. Come on, focus now. And another one right there. This vacuum line here, move to the side. Next up, let's go ahead and remove serpentine belt. It's 14mm down there. I'm using extension. Let's take the tension off, slide the belt off. We went ahead and removed this top coolant line. If you're replacing your oil filter housing gasket and the oil cooler gasket down there, try not to forget this plastic one there. Definitely gonna start leaking, and that's what's leaking on ours now. So anyway, we are going to replace the thermostat, so it's not gonna be a big deal to do it while we're there. Another thing I want to do is pop this idler pulley off, create more room for us. To remove this upper tensioner, we pop off the cover with a little flat screwdriver. This here is a Torx 50. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, just to make sure you're going the right way. Sometimes they do a different thread, but luckily not on this one. So once we take this bolt off, next one will be this Torx holding the thermostat housing. Remove these plugs here, and next up, pop this clip up. Remove these 3 Torx, one here, and one under there with a little extension. Found out that in order to remove the bottom one here, the hidden one, it's probably smarter to remove this idler pulley here as well. It's a Torx 40 because I want to use this longer extension to get access to it. I've unscrewed the 3 bolts holding the thermostat housing here, and I also slide out this coolant pipe. little clip locking it in. Slowly just go ahead and wiggle it off. Fighting with it a little bit. This end was stuck, didn't want to come out. I managed to get it out. Now go ahead and make sure to replace also this gasket here, thermostat gasket. This definitely needs to be replaced. And that's our leak culprit, since we already did the filter housing gasket and oil cooler gasket down there. And I've already done this same plug on a different car which was still causing a leak, and I tracked it down to be this plug here. So we're gonna remove this one next. This oil filter housing plug right here has two locking tabs. You will need a skinny flat head to either break them and then unscrew this thing. That's how I did it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and apply some lubrication here on this O-ring to make sure it slides back in. So let's go ahead and remove the old one, clean the surface, and install the new one. The plug, or I would like to say it might be a thermostat for this thing, I'm not sure. Anyways, it's removed. That's the old one. This O-ring here is completely flattened. Already have cleaned up the surfaces there. So remove this one. Let's just wipe this thing down here, apply some oil on this O-ring, and just screw it back in there. Right, new one is installed, surface cleaned. Now it's time to grab some brake cleaner and clean up all the oily surfaces, and then next one would be our thermostat housing installation. Thing is properly cleaned up. I figured out in order to reinstall the thermostat housing, we need to remove this one. That's probably an oil pressure port. That's a Torx 45. Unscrew this one. Make sure you keep those crush washers on it and don't lose them, otherwise you're gonna have oil leak. Preferably replace those crush washers. Oil pressure switch removed. Right here, go ahead and put those 3 screws back, tighten it down nice and snug. Then we go ahead and install this. Probably it's wiser to install this longer one which holds the whole housing in place. Just couple turns. I have reinstalled our lower idler pulley, upper idler pulley. Also installed this vacuum line. It attaches right here on new thermostat housing. Right here. Goes under the hose and snugly fits back here. Next one up. This pipe here. Both turbo pipes are installed on this one here. Make sure to hand tighten or hand screw those mounting bolts in. One here and one right under here. Right there. And top one only has one. Clamps here, clamps there, clamps on the top. Another one gonna be here. Next one up, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall those oil lines. Remove this one here, remove our rag here, remove this zip tie, pop them back in there, screw them down. Only screws that seem to have yellow marking on it, at least on this car. Everything pretty much is wrapped up. All we have to do is refill our coolant that we lost in the progress, both for intercooler reservoir and regular engine coolant reservoir, since they are still somewhat connected to each other, even though it's 2015. Here all the pipes are installed, cooler lines installed, coolant line is installed, intake pipe installed. So let's fill up the fluid and let it run and see if we need to air out some air bubbles from it. So let it get to operating temperature, turn our heat on, let it circulate, and turn off the car and see if you get some bubbles out. Job done for the day. DIY cost around $400. This housing here is $323. This plug here $16.07 maybe, $17. Some coolant $20. Brake cleaner $10. So around $400 DIY. Thanks for watching.